I had this idea a little while back that I wanted to talk about 5 games in 5 minutes. These are basically 5 games that I played that were my favorites this year, in no particular order aside the order chronologically I played them. So here we go, 5 minutes, all one take for each game. Let's get started. By the way, if I go over a minute, I'm immediately cutting myself off and skipping to the next one. Got it? Got it. Ultra Kill was the first game I played this year, and it was immediately a hook for me. I really don't play boomer shooters a lot, but the thing that separates Ultra Kill from the other ones, aside from just pure aura, is I think the amount of detail that was put into just literally anything and everything. There's just so much tech you can do in the game with your coins. You can use a rail cannon on it, you can ride rockets, you can explode enemies left, right, and center. There's just so much going on, not just with the gameplay, but with the story as well. There's a deep and complex reason for almost anything, even the most trivial things that you wouldn't think there would need to be a reason for. Let's not forget that this game isn't even finished yet. I feel like these devs are just taking such long times to put intricate amounts of care into every single thing, and this is the same kind of devs that are willing to put shit like this in the game. Cassette Beasts was the first Pokemon adjacent game, aside from SMT, that I felt like had actual sauce to it. I feel like a lot of times when someone is trying to make a creature catcher, it almost ends up boring or too similar to Pokemon or some sort of combination of both. And don't get me wrong, Cassette Beasts wears its Pokemon inspiration like brightly on its sleeve. It is not trying to hide that at all, but it does so much differently to make it its own kind of unique thing as well. The presentation, the gameplay. Let's actually talk about the gameplay for a second, because it's less like you have a team of buddies and more like you have an Omnitrix from Ben 10. Basically, it's you and your partner, and you two have a health bar, and your cassettes have a health bar. And if your cassette health bar runs out, then yeah, you can just pick a cassette, but if your health bar runs out, then you're gone. You're gone for the rest of the fight. And being one person in these fights is extremely hard because it's a all doubles game. Pseudo Regalia is a game I really feel like came at the right time for me because I was in the middle of college and I really wasn't looking for long experiences, you know? This game is pretty short, only around like 7-ish hours, and I enjoyed it. It was really short and sweet. Basically, it's a 3D platformer Metroidvania, except more than half of the items you unlock to progress are all movement options. So as you go through the game, you get more and more complex movement, and you slowly begin to understand how everything chains into each other, and that encourages a lot of sequence breaking, which I actually did, and I felt very proud of myself for doing it. It's such an encouraging game, and it really just is wonderful at teaching you mechanics and how to learn, and I would love to see another sequel. They've been updating it, they added time trials, they know that the movement's the best part of this game, and I would just say, hey, stick to what you're doing, because what you're doing, you're cooking, dude. I don't love roguelikes. I feel like my playing of them is typically an off and on kind of thing, which is why it was so surprising to me that I loved Hades so much. I know this is a really popular game, so it doesn't need much introduction. I'm just going to take this time to gush about how there was always something new in a run. whether it was dialogue, whether it was new combinations for me to try, whether it was new weapons I hadn't tried before, or new builds with weapons. There's just so much variety. And I appreciate every ounce of story, every ounce of gameplay, every ounce of thought that was put into this game, because this was like my game for the summer, man. I remember hearing that I had to beat this game 10 times to see the ending, and at first I thought, that's ridiculous. I'm probably never going to do that. And I did it in like maybe a week, 2 weeks. I did it. Oh, I've never been this like invested in Greek mythology since my Bloodborne was my first From Software game ever, and I think it changed me as a person. I usually play games that adapt to around me, adapt around very flexible things like Tears of the Kingdom or being able to do different builds in Hades. Bloodborne was the first game that I felt like was asking me to change, asking me to learn the patterns, asking me to just genuinely get better. And I'm so glad that I stuck with it because I enjoyed that challenge. I enjoyed what it was asking me to step up to. There was no more satisfying a feeling than beating Lady Maria in the Bloodborne DLC. And I understand the appeal of these games now. I immediately knew Game Plus to this because I knew there was so much stuff I missed on a blind playthrough and so much more stuff I had context to now that I understood the lore. I still need to finish that new Game Plus, but the fact that I wanted to immediately, I think really speaks to just the amount of care put into these games. So yeah, that's my 5 for 5. Like I said, it was all one take, so there's probably some stutters or stumbles in there somewhere. And I feel like there's some games I wasn't able to do justice in the 1 minute. Cassette pieces especially, now that I'm looking back at the recording time, it's like 2 minutes long. I don't think I'm going to be able to fit everything I said in there, even if I do cut it down. But that just shows how much I think I'm passionate about those games. And the games I was able to fit in a minute, kudos to you that you had such quality that I was able to just gush about it for that. The game's good. Check out all the games on here. If any of them interested you and you want to see like a full video, maybe let me know in the comments because I'm not object to talking about any of these really. Anyways, I hope this comes out around New Year's because I'm wishing you a happy New Year. And yeah, more stuff to come in the future. Probably more low quality video practice stuff, but more actual projects to come in the future as well. In the meantime, yeah, peace.